Tinubu is overfed father of starving Nigerian children who does not deserve respecting or obeying. Prof. speaks. Citing the sacrifices his father made to ensure that they, his children, are better off, he drew parallel between being the father or mother of children and being the president of a country. Nigerian American professor Farouk Barogi has said the president who indulges in the kind of primitive acquisitiveness of President Bola Tinubu at the expense of suffering Nigerians has no moral right to expect patriotism or willing sacrifice. Barogi, a media savvy who stated this in an article titled Tinubu, Overfed Father of Starving Children, stated that if President Tinubu and members of his government were serious about sacrificing in light of the fact that Nigeria is broke, they should give up their own subsidies. He explained that there was neither honor nor dignity in being the overfed father of starving children. Citing the sacrifices his father made to ensure that they, his children, are better off, he drew parallel between being the father or mother of children and being the president of a country. Just as selfless, responsible parenting automatically inspires filial respect and love, compassionate, responsible governance engenders patriotism and makes possible national self-sacrifice from citizens. The more I read stories of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's profligate expenditures and vain acquisitions amid the once in a generation cost of living crisis that ordinary Nigerians are going through as a direct consequence of his economic policies, the more I think of my late father. He wondered if they would have been emotionally attached to his father even at his death, if he had splurged on himself while his children starved. Would he have been able to persuade us that we didn't have the fine things of life because he lacked the means to buy them for us? Nigeria has one of the world's highest poverty rates. Most Nigerians now live in way worse poverty than I lived in when I was growing up, he stated. Yet, Tinubu's economic reforms consist basically in denuding citizens of some of the subsidies we are taking for granted. Relatively cheap petrol will lead to affordable transportation and food costs. Subsidized education, which allows the son of a primary school teacher like me to go to the university. The justification for this reform is that Nigeria is too poor to be able to sustain programs that help the poor to survive and thrive. So, sacrifice is required to rejig the economy. Money saved from the temporary withdrawal of a state from the lives of the people will be invested to ensure a greater, brighter, and more prosperous tomorrow. Untrue, but fair enough. The renowned author and columnist questioned why the sacrifice was a one-way traffic. At the time that every day folks have been told to contend with unsustainable extortionate petrol and electricity prices, which have had a domino effect on all aspects of life. President Tinubu bought for himself a new presidential jet worth $150 million, which is the equivalent of more than 150 billion naira. This is aside from the fact that a sum of 12.7 billion naira has been allocated in the 2023 supplementary budget for the maintenance of the presidential air fleet. A country too poor to provide much needed subsidies for its poor should not have a president who flies an expensive plane or an air fleet that guzzles that much money to maintain. The UK is a much wealthier country than Nigeria. It gives its citizens the sort of subsidy that Nigerians have been blackmailed into accepting that they are unworthy of. But the UK Prime Minister had no dedicated aircraft until 2016 when the plane was purchased for the Prime Minister and other ministers and senior members of the royal family when they travel on official engagement at the cost of $15 million. UK government officials, including the Prime Minister, used to charter commercial jets for official travels until 2016, the United Kingdom was in fact the only one among the group of 7 industrialized countries without a dedicated government VIP jet, citing the Point Guy website. Recall that Tinubu caused the well-deserved national stir when he ordered the purchase of a presidential yacht worth 5 billion naira sometimes in 2023. It also came to light that he brought for himself a bulletproof Escalade SUV worth 1.5 billion naira, among other examples of indefensible Epicurean lavishness. In response to my last week column, a government apologist who knows if he is a government appointee pointed out to me that the price of petroleum in Nigeria was the second lowest in the world in dollar terms by the time the subsidy was partially removed. He said this in an indictment. He is miffed that Nigeria has the second lowest petrol in the world. I doubt this is even true, but even if it were true, what is wrong with that? It's like a wealthy but stingy father who splurges on himself, telling the starving children that they do not deserve the crumbs he throws their way because they are poorer neighbors with way hungry children than they. So the rich but penny pinching father stops the crumbs to the children but continues to luxuriate in copious opulence while telling his children to learn to sacrifice for a greater tomorrow. That is not a father worth respecting or obeying, he maintained. God will bless you, sir. God will bless you for this thing that you're saying. You say, I love people who, even if you are supporting Tinubu before, but you are going to come out and say, this is crazy. You will come out and say, this thing going on is not okay. It's not supposed to go on. Now, this man, what say this man talk not true? Just like I will say, you're picking the hungry, they tell and say, no, say they build house. Say they need to sacrifice for the house where they build. And you build the house finish, and their name is there. And as then they finish, you build that house finish. You can't go marry another person. You can't go marry second wife. Second wife will follow them, come they drag the so-called house we say they made them sacrifice for. Everything with this man described is not true. Somebody came out, Reno, not be anybody, come out and say, if you convert the price for Nigerian petrol in dollar, say Nigerian are the second lowest. And I'm like, sure, did he hit his head on the floor or on the wall? What is the problem? Nobody we get this oil. Are we not supposed to be having almost everywhere we go refineries? Are there not supposed to be refineries refining our oil for us? Is gas supposed to be expensive? This man go there abroad, they do not make us say if them born Reno and making enter Niger. Make up this saying don't enter Nigeria. I sure say na young people now go just go and carry and go once I go Ozulam because the guy don't talk yarn dust. Ha. Now what? Prof. Perogi, you are right, but certain people will not agree. They will come after you for saying that. Of course. It is easier, now listen to this. It is easier to criticize, but most difficult to do. President Tinubu has continued to address the problems and challenges of the country frontally. No one enjoys having the people rules over in hardship and abject poverty, but such conditions become indispensable for the purpose of necessary restructuring. I beg, close your dirty mouths. Just the yap. What did they talk? Just like he's saying, what is the government giving up? Let them start collecting the 70,000 minimum wage. The same one they give to us. Or let us make it 100 for them since they're the leaders. Let them give up their allowances. You saw the rubbish people, all the thing where they make their children, they fly outside, they remain outside for years. If they born them, we make them record them come out and strip all the whole benefits of being a public officer. Then make we know whether that person will still there for that position. If they don't go come out. Alright, on this note, you have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come your way next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.